Welcome to the Inside View. I'm Renzulli, your host. Thank you for watching. This is my continuing series of interviews with the 12 candidates who are running for City Council in this year's election. Here's the format, 30 minutes per interview. Every candidate gets the same set of questions. My guest today is Mike Masi, who is running as a Republican in Ward 2. Hi, Mike. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. Let's start out with a snapshot of your background.
Sure. So I grew up just outside of Little Falls here just a few years ago. I had moved down to Florida early in my life and then moved back here and started on the job in Little Falls as a police officer in '92. And I've been here ever since, 32 years, something like that. So I enjoy Little Falls, happy to be here, and still work to this day up in the Herkimer County.
What do you do there?
So I after I retired from the police department in 2019, I started work at the college. I started a police academy up there, and I run the academy there and also teach as a criminal justice professor there.
So you were originally appointed by the mayor, correct?
I was. One of the council people had dropped out, and I received a call from Mayor Kaufman asking me if I was interested in serving on the council. I currently served on the police and fire board, so I figured I might as well jump into that too.
So this is your first time literally running for election.
No, actually last year I ran because it was an off year, but there was a general election, so I was required to run last year, and I won that. And then because this year all the council seats are open, I have to run again this year.
So why are you running again?
Well, I've lived in Little Falls for 32 years, as I said, and my wife and we raised our son, who is now 23 years old. And my whole career has been in Little Falls, serving the citizens of Little Falls. And just things today are a lot different. Things are getting a little bit tough. The city's in a lot of financial issues. There's a lot of issues coming forward that I really think that we're at a state where we need to have good transparency, make solid decisions, looking at the future, and looking out for what the needs of the community are, not our personal interests as politicians. So why am I running? I'm running because I'm pretty open for my views. I don't play politics. I speak my piece, and I speak for the people. 27 years as a servant of the residents of Little Falls. I served both political parties, all different walks of life. So I had to listen to what the interests and what the needs of the community were and respond to them, regardless of what I thought or what I felt. And I think in politics today, we really need that. Mm-hmm. We need to serve our communities and not ourselves.
So the people want their aldermen to be effective. In your mind, what does that mean to you? What does it take to be an effective alderman?
I think to be an effective alderman, you have to be willing to listen to the people that you serve, and be willing to set aside your own interests and act on their behalf. And effective in today's issues with Little Falls, be effective in making solid financial decisions in what we do, what projects we pursue, what adventures we go down, what we have coming into our community. So I think effective is making solid decisions and being fully transparent with our public.
Now, what skills and experience do you think you have that'll help you to be that effective?
So, like I said, 27 years as a police officer, 10 of which was the chief of police. I got very accustomed to listening to people. And a lot of times people that were not happy with things that were going on, not happy with issues in their communities. So listening skills, I think I bring to the table. And also willing to step up and question things, ask the tough questions that need to be asked, whether they're favorable or whether they're not, and regardless of who I'm asking that for. So I think I bring honesty and willing to stand up for the people.
Okay. You mentioned one of the issues the city's facing, but what do you think are the top three issues that are troubling the city right now that need to be taken care of?
So top three, obviously, are financial. Every month we listen to the mayor, and that's really what got me to say yes. Was looking at my wife and I talking and saying, listen, if we want to continue living in this community, we have to be vested. We have to be willing to be a part of fixing the problems, and the problem is financial. Whatever the causes were before, making solid decisions going forward and being part of that. So I think financial is the biggest issue. Public safety obviously is my forte anyway. I come from that background. So looking at our community and making sure that it's not changing to the negative, right? We can't stop change, but we can certainly affect how much change and make sure it goes in the right direction. And I think as society, as a lot of things degrade, I think that we have to be willing to take care of our own little community. We have a small community here. It's a great community. We need to keep it a small and great community. If I might just tell a quick story, a former board member on one of the nearby villages once asked me, how do we keep our main street so well kept, right? In that particular community, I don't want to mention names, but that particular community, their main street was dealing with a lot of issues, drug dealing and stuff like that. And I basically stated that it's up to the owners of the property, right? Between a working relationship between the community, the municipality, meaning us, the police at the time, and the owners of the property being vested in the real estate, right? So they own the businesses, they own the apartments above, so they make sure they put people that are going to take care of the property and not hang out on Main Street in front of it and do drugs and stuff like that. So we have a great community. It's a small community. We need to keep it a small and safe community. So second is a safety issue for me, making sure we deal with those issues. Third issue, I think, is making sure we bring things in that people want. So we're going to we need to attract the people that we want to live here, right? The hardworking people, the people that are will be vested in making this city a good place and a good setting for their families.
So as an individual alderman, how do you impact those three things?
That's a good question. I'm kind of new at it. And, to be honest with you, the first year, half a year really, I'm learning, I'm watching how things happen. I think that the mayor does a great job in taking care of the day-to-day businesses with that. But I think that the whole due process thing is there's got to be checks and balances with everything. So I think my contribution has to be being willing to look at each adventure that we go down, each thing that we do, and being connected with the community to find out if that's the right thing for us, and ask the tough questions. So I think I don't make any of the decisions myself. That's kind of a nice thing, but I have to voice the interests of my residents in the second ward.
Well, speaking of the second ward,
yeah,
we talked about three issues for the city. What about the three big issues? And I'm in Ward 2.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. What are the big issues in Ward 2?
So it's interesting. I really expected more feedback over the last year from residents in the second ward. I really haven't had a lot. There's been a couple issues. Over the years, I've seen every neighborhood. You pick up a house or two that will be on the blocks that are just not favorable, right? There's a lot of issues going on. So Ward 2 sees the same thing. So I think maintaining that, we have to continue keeping those residents from going to rental properties with absentee landlords. Somehow we have to control that. We have to control houses from becoming dilapidated and then obviously homeless and vagrants end up hanging out there. So we have to keep track of that. Beyond that, I really don't, I haven't heard a lot of what interests them. I know Diamond Street has a big issue with the wall there on the corner and road streets. If you drive down any of the streets in Little Falls and many other communities, they're all degrading. So I think that's an issue. I guess you'd be a better person to ask that question to.
Well, I have a couple that maybe we'll
Sure.
talk about later.
Right, right.
If you get elected, maybe
Yep.
we'll have that conversation. But moving on, you've been at this a little while. How do you stay connected with your constituents? I know you just said that you don't get too many phone calls, but going forward, how would you do that? How would you improve on that?
I think the way that I would like to see, if I get elected, I would like to see a survey go out to the residents, not just the second ward, but all the residents, because safety is an issue for me, along with a lot of other issues that our communities, small communities, are facing. I'd like to see a survey go out to the residents to find that out, to kind of get some feedback, because I think we all, a lot of times live in this bubble where if the people if they're not mad about something, we're not hearing from them, right? They show up when they're heated about one topic, but that doesn't mean they're not interested in a lot of other topics and a lot of other issues. I think that we need to get in touch with them before the issues get so great that they become heated and a lot of people gather. So personally, I know a lot of communities have gone to putting out surveys to see what are some of the issues that they're concerned about. I guarantee right off the bat, public safety is one of them, one of the top ones. And I'm interested to see what else is there.
Okay. So you're running against two other people. Actually, there's good participation this time around. There's 3 people in every ward.
Right.
So you have a little competition. What sets you apart from the competition?
I think the connection I've had with Little Falls, again, I hate to keep saying it, but 27 years working for the police department and serving the residents of Little Falls. I think that's my biggest stronghold is I've demonstrated to the residents of Little Falls and to the community that I am vested in this community and that I am willing to do the hard work for them and that I care about this community. And even though I retired, it doesn't change. I still live here and I'm very committed. The other thing is I do have, with 10 years being the chief, I had a lot of exposure to the budgets. So I didn't just keep track of mine. I also looked at other budgets, of course, a little bit selfish, but, I want to make sure that my department is getting its fair share, right? And so I have a good working knowledge of the breakdown of the budget. So I think I can add to that. When it comes to politics, I'm not very, I don't have a lot of experience with that. But I think my biggest stronghold is willing to listen to our residents. When there's something that concerns them, I want to hear about it. All they need to do is reach out.
Okay. How do you feel about your relationship with the mayor? What kind of relationship should a mayor have? Working relationship should an older person have with the mayor?
So I am a due process person. I believe that regardless of who the mayor is, regardless of the political party of the mayor, the council's job is to keep his checks and balance, right? I know this mayor that we have, Deb Kaufman, is a hard worker. She puts a lot of time into it. But when she asked me to run to fill a seat, I made it very clear to her. I said, listen, the only thing I will tell you is I will ask questions. It doesn't matter whether it's you, whether it's Mark Blask I served before, Ted Wynn before that. It doesn't matter. I will ask the questions. And if it's something that you don't against you, don't take it personal. It's not personal. It's I'm going to ask those questions. And I think that that's a healthy relationship. I think that we've seen quite a few years of not asking those questions, the council not asking the tough questions, not keeping in check a system that is built on checks and balances. So I think that's important, and I think if we have intelligent, hardworking, good, interested people serving in the political positions, and we keep that checks and balance in play, the city should be in a good place going forward.
Okay. Sticking with the mayor, there are some in this community.
Can't get away from that, huh?
Yeah, well, not yet. Not yet.
You're going to get me in trouble yet. No.
There are some in this community who feel there's not enough transparency and communication from the mayor's office. What's your take on that?
Well, my take on it is if you sit at every council meeting, she is very thorough in bringing the city up to speed. To be quite honest with you, the first council meeting I sat at since I had retired was the one that the council member resigned from. Her account of what was going on in the city, the state of the city during that meeting is what really, I was shocked. Mm-hmm. Just 4 or 5 years prior, I had been involved in the process, and somehow everything was different. So I think that she's very transparent. I think you just got to be willing to listen. She is, when asked a question, she answers the questions. You may not like the answer, but I think she's good at answering the questions. As far as my interaction with her, anytime I've raised concern or questions, she seems to take it under advisement, but she is the mayor, and she will probably go down the road that she feels is appropriate, which is probably the way it should be anyway. So I have not had an issue with transparency. I think she's she keeps everybody informed of what's going on. I think there's a little politics in play where, just because you're from the other party, we're not hearing the things that we want to hear. You got to be willing to ask the questions and listen. And I think you'll hear all you need to hear about where we are as a city. The important things, right?
Right. So as a former police chief, policeman, now alderman, what's your take on the homeless issue? And that pertains to not just Little Falls, but really the whole valley. But I've noticed in Little Falls, this summer it seemed to tick up a little bit more than it was earlier.
Yeah, so it is a problem facing all the communities, and every community is having the same. So my take on the homeless, there's no clear solution to the problem. The not easy fix, right? So some of the homeless are homeless due to mental health issues. Some are homeless. Some of the homeless are homeless due to substance abuse issues. So there's deep-seated issues that are causing the homeless to begin with. And I think until we figure out how to fix that and get people to want to choose a different way of life. Obviously, the mentally ill is a different thing, but especially the substance abuse. I know a community that tried to build a homeless shelter for the people to live in. They didn't want that because it was separate from the downtown where they had easy access to their supply of stuff. So I think a lot of communities are trying a lot of different things, but I don't think there's an easy fix to it. I don't know that we snap our fingers and it goes away from our community tomorrow. I really don't. So I'd like to have an answer. I do know that the chief, we as an alderman, we have to make sure that our public safety people, our codes officer, our police chief, and the officers are doing everything they can to get the resources to these people that try to get them off the street, right? We've teamed up, our police department's teamed up with a mental health professional through, I forget what organization they're with, but she actually goes with the officers and helps try to get them into a place, whether it's social services, whether it's housing, wherever it is, they try to do that. So I think we're doing everything that we can. We can't just shuttle them off into some exterior island somewhere and leave them there. But I think it's going to continue to grow to be.
It's a tough issue because you'd like to show some sympathy, but on the other hand, it can be disruptive. We had one person create some chaos in our library not too long ago, and we had to call the police department, and that person was permanently barred from coming in, unfortunately. They come in, they hang out, they sleep. As long as they're not bothering anybody, we generally let them go. But every now and then you run into somebody who just kind of goes off the rails. But anyway.
Right. I think that you can't, you don't let your quality of life disintegrate, right? Yeah. Some of these people substance abuse is a tough thing. And if you let it grow, they're going to continue to commit crimes. They're going to continue to alter people's lives for their own purpose. So we have to control it. Mm-hmm. And, if it's barring, I feel bad for them too, but we can't let them overrun our community either.
You mentioned a little while ago that you feel that you have good listening skills. If there was a critical issue that came up and you had a total disagreement with another alder person or even the mayor, how do you go about dealing with that? How do you manage that?
So I personally would like to sit down with them one-on-one off the record, right? I don't like the council floor. I don't like that being the I'm not a stage person, right? I don't want to sit there and showboat for anybody. So I would like to sit down with them. I'd like to hear their viewpoints because I am always aware that just because I think something doesn't mean that's necessarily the right way. So I like to be open and hear their viewpoint and hear what side. And then I'm going to make a decision, and they're going to know where I come from. They're going to know what I'm not going to, I'll change my opinion if I feel that they've convinced me that their opinion is right. Otherwise, I'm going to tell them where I come from, and I'm going to stay steadfast. Kind of like the whole parking ticket thing, when they upped the fines for that. I was very clear to the mayor that I didn't necessarily agree to it, and as much as I want to support the mayor, and I'll support her in a lot of things, it's something I felt committed to for the population of our residents, and I voted accordingly, and I'll continue to do that. Listen, it's okay if two people disagree, and the whole purpose of having different political viewpoints at the council is to allow for that debate and that discussion, and then we see who the majority is and who votes accordingly, right?
That's what democracy is all about, right?
It really is, and I'm gonna vote my heart and what I feel the residents want, and hopefully we can get along afterwards.
Good. So where do you see the city 5 years from now, or where would you like to see the city 5 years from now?
I would like to see the city continue to have things that families can raise their children at, right? So have venues that is a good place for family lives. I don't think that we need to be a big city. I think we like our identity as a small, quaint community. And I would like to see us continue that. I like the peaceful quietness of this community. I really do. But I would also like to see us, first and foremost, fiscally sound. I think that's something that concerns all of us, is making sure that we are a safe community and making sure that we are in a good financial spot to provide for our families for years down the road.
Okay, good. Final thoughts?
No, I appreciate you inviting me on. I wish all the candidates well, and I think the residents. The nice thing about this process is the residents will pick who they feel is the best fit for them. So I invite anybody to reach out to me at any time if they have any concerns. I really want to hear from them, and if there's things that we can do to make ourselves more available to hear the concerns, I'm open to that as well.
Perfect. Okay, Mike, good luck in the election.
Thank you.
Have fun campaigning. I'm sure you'll be out there doing something.
Something.
That's a wrap for us, and that's Mike Masi running for Alderman in Ward 2. Please exercise your right to vote this year. Thank you for watching.